Hello and welcome to the Hot Take. This is the show where we try to discuss some of the hottest topics in the cold mailing world and maybe along the way debunk some of the common myths along the cold email senders. I am joined by Ines, who is our customer support specialist with over 4 years of experience in deliverability, integrations, API, cold mailing in general. She is a true technical wizard and she is here to share some of her charming technical skills.
I agree. And another host is Jake, our customer success specialist, person fully focused on your campaign struggles, deliverability issues. So if you have any, that's your person to go.
Thanks, Ines. All right, so let's dive right into it. The topic for the first episode of Hot Takes actually did come from you, right?
Right. Some time ago, I created a poll on my LinkedIn profile where I asked a simple question. Do you use unsubscribe link in your cold campaigns? And the answers were mixed, so I thought to myself it would be a great starting point for a discussion. So here we are.
Yeah, if there are some doubts, that calls for a hot take episode. So let's dive right into it. Ines, with your years of experience in explaining different things to our customers, if you were to explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old, what is unsubscribe link?
Unsubscribe link is a clickable text that allow you to delist yourself from the mailing list. That's all.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Now, if we were to dive a bit more into the technicalities of that, what's the technical magic happening behind the scenes of that?
When you receive an email, there is probably an unsubscribe link if it's automatic email. The unsubscribe link is usually placed at the bottom of the email. It says something like simply unsubscribe, or even the whole sentence like click here if you don't want to receive my emails. When you click this link, you are redirected to another page where you can confirm your decision. Once you do it, the sender's database is updated with this thing, and your email address gets opt-out or unsubscribe label. So the system knows that your email address shouldn't be contacted in the future anymore. So yeah, that's all, more or less.
That sounds fairly simple. So yeah, that's a common mechanism among all the senders, even newsletter senders, even cold mailing senders. Now, the question, of course, arises here. Should you have it? Is it okay to add it? So that brings us to part 2 of this show.
Okay, Jake, calls with the clients are very typical for your job, for your work. Yep. So I'm curious if that's a typical question from the customers. They want to know if they should use the unsubscribe link. Is this very common topic? What's your take on that?
It does come up during my calls with clients. And it's usually being break down into 2 aspects, so positive and obviously the negative one. Now, during those calls, the positives are pretty fairly the same all the time. So the automation part of it. So once you have the unsubscribe link, you don't have to manually manage those leads that opt out from your mailing. That's the obvious positive. Another positive that some people mention is the courtesy, the good etiquette of having it in your content, so they feel more comfortable sending an email with unsubscribe link. Now the negatives, that's the problematic part that usually is more discussed during the calls. The number one negative is always the deliverability aspect of it. As you know yourself, any link is problematic in your content.
That's right. And
unsubscribe link is a link, right? So that's number one problem usually during those calls. We're going to dive into the deliverability aspect of this in the further part. Now, another negative aspect that people sometimes bring up, and I'm not sure I agree with this, is that having the unsubscribe link kind of automatically encourages people to opt out. Like, you're leaving a door open for them to just bail on your messages. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's something that just, people bring up. Now, another aspect that it's also pretty important during the calls, and people have a lot of doubts about this, is the law aspect of it. So what are the law regulations, regarding using the unsubscribe link? And I think you know a bit more about that.
Yeah, that's a good question, because this is a very typical case that people write to us on the customer support. And they ask if cold email is legal. Yeah. And the answer is it depends. Like, there is, GDPR, there is Can-Spam Act, there is RODO in Poland, and any other many local laws that specify if the cold email is legal, but what's highly connected with this area is the unsubscribe link, because usually this laws describe if you should put an easy way to opt out for the customers, and that's the part that makes the cold email legal or not in particular country. So that's great idea to check the local law of the country you are targeting. So.
One thing, we are not giving legal advice here.
Of course.
What we are trying to do here is kind of bring your attention to some things you might want to look into before you're sent to your target base. Now that's the tricky part with the
research before. Yes, I agree.
Exactly. That's the tricky part as well, because usually those laws don't exactly specify whether it should be the unsubscribe link or not. And sometimes they tend to say that it's just an easy way to opt out, as you just said. Now, this can be the unsubscribe link, but can also be the unsubscribe line or whatever. So do the homework, as Ines said, do the reading, check whether you should use the link or is it just vaguely defined in the local laws. Now, I mentioned the deliverability issues. That's number one topic during the calls about that. So let's jump right into this and discuss the deliverability problems the unsubscribe link can cause. All right, Ines, there is no cold mailing without good deliverability. And I always think to myself, why would I have deliverability problems because of the unsubscribe link that I add, in a goodwill to allow people to opt out? So what's the problem with that? Why it causes deliverability issues?
It's worth noting that any link in cold email isn't the perfect idea. When you put the unsubscribe link in your cold email, and when someone clicks it, this person is redirected to another page. And this inconsistency between domains is an issue. For example, you click mydomain.com and you are redirected to tracking-domain.com/numbers, digits, and so on. And why this is an issue? Because of spammers. This is typical practice for spammers that they put nicely looking domain link in the email, and this link redirects you to a dangerous page where they can steal your data and so on. So the inconsistency between the first link and the second link is an issue for anti-spam filters.
Okay, so if I'm a cold mailer, how can I counteract this? Because if I use Woodpecker, I probably have this generic tracking. So what can I do to counteract this?
Okay, there is a solution, and it's called custom tracking domain. You can easily create it by adding CNAME record to your DNS panel, and we have a help article about this topic. It isn't that hard, so you can check it later. The custom tracking domain allows you to align the links. So the first link, for example, is mydomain.com, and it can your link, your unsubscribe link, can be redirected to, for example, tracking.mydomain.com. And as you can see, there's alignment.
Yeah, that makes
sense. So that solves an issue with inconsistency.
Yeah, so technically it sounds a bit technical, but it's not that technical. As Ines said, you can check our help article, which we will attach in the description of this video. You can do it yourself, trust me. Now, there's another way to counteract this problem, and it's to resign completely from using the unsubscribe link and just using the unsubscribe line. So, a sentence like, if you don't want to be contacted again, just reply with no. Or what Alex Hormozy once used in his mailing, if you hate money, just reply with stop. Well, obviously prompts you not to reply stop, but you get the point, right? And now, if you don't use the unsubscribe link and just use the unsubscribe line, you can still be compliant with the laws you mentioned, right? Because if they vaguely describe what is an easy way to opt out, then this can still fall into that category, while at the same time avoiding the deliverability issues, right? Now, the other aspect I always think about using the unsubscribe line is that you are getting some replies back, right? So people are replying, so like, no, I'm not interested, or stop contacting me. Okay, negative replies, sure, but an engagement nonetheless. So technically, it still can work like sort of a warm-up for you, I think, because you're getting replies, getting actual engagement. So in the eyes of providers, I think your reputation is still built and you're using your prospects as a warm-up pool, I think. Do you think from technical point of view this can work like this? It can increase your reputation?
it is warm up, because what's warm up? It's sending emails and receiving emails to make, a traffic on your mailbox, and that's what happened when you give your prospects easy way to opt out by replying to your campaign. So
it's nothing else but engagement, right? Now, I guess that's some food for thought here. Now, let's wrap it up.
Okay, guys, so I think it's time for hot verdict. We know how the unsubscribe link works and what are the side effects. Jake, what's your take on that? What do you recommend?
Okay, so the success verdict for this episode is going to be drumroll. It depends, I'm afraid. It depends because there are a lot of perspectives to look at it. And from my point of view, from the success point of view, from the calls I have with the client, there are two major things to consider here. One is being compliant with local laws. So do the reading, as we said, check the local laws, what you need to be compliant with, and the choice of the etiquette you want to have as a sender. So if you think it's a good practice to have it. Now, what's gonna be the support verdict on that?
I totally agree with. I understand the it depends answer, but my verdict is put the unsubscribe link in your cold email because it's compliant with deliverability rules and good sending practices. And as a support representative, I'm staying compliant with strict deliverability rules. So
always aim for the deliverability, Ines. Right, so that's the end of the first episode of Hot Take.
And if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and let us know in the comments if there are any other hot topics that need a hot verdict from two perspectives: support and success.
Yep. And guys, don't unsubscribe from us, please. Also, if you're not following my bestie on LinkedIn, please do. Please go and follow her on LinkedIn. See you in the next one.